Welcome to CLIC Connect. This is our new season, and our first guest is my good friend and sponsor of the California Lodging Investment Conference, Mr. Mark LeBlanc, Executive Vice President of Development and Acquisitions, Aimbridge Hospitality. Mark and his team are perfectly positioned to leverage their abilities and talents to all scales with experience beyond belief. And Mark's going to tell us about it. He's also got some new services that they're offering right now. Mark, how are you, buddy?
Happy New Year, Craig. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good to see you. I see the barbershops are closed down in SoCal.
Yeah, well, all of Southern California should be closed right now. So, Mark, you and your team have launched some new programs recently. You want to tell the audience about that?
Yeah, the most exciting thing we've done, we started this back in June, actually. It's called ARS, Aimbridge Receiver Services. And we recognized early on that there's going to be a lot of defaulted loans. And so Dave Johnson wanted to capitalize on that. And we felt, being that we're in every state in the country and 20 different countries on top of it, that there weren't too many markets we didn't have experience in, and we could help the special servicers, the lenders, with receivership and distressed assets. So ARS started in June. We have taken over about 13, 14 properties, and we've got about 30 in the pipeline that we've been given, verbal indication that when they do take them back, we'll be taking them over. So it's been pretty robust. What's interesting is we're tracking almost 1,700 defaulted loans right now in the country. So there's a lot to come, but it's whether the special servicers and lenders pull the trigger on them, or if they're going to be patient and try to do workouts.
Now, out of that 1,700, is that all CMBS, or is that across the board with the?
Yeah, it's both. It's both.
Okay.
It's probably the majority is CMBS by far, but there's definitely Wells Fargo alone, I believe, has like 160 loans, and there's probably not a hotel loan in the country that isn't at least in technical default right now.
Right.
And so they're all tracking them, but there's a great reluctance to pull the trigger and appoint a receiver. There's a number of reasons for that. One is the fact that, well, first of all, the courts are so backed up. Because of COVID, they're not even open. So even when they would like to do it, it's a slow process. And then the second thing is, the fact is they don't want to have to feed these. And, during the recession, we could have taken a hotel over, tightened up the expenses, and without debt service, we could make the thing cash flow. That's not the case today. They're not cash flowing even without debt service. So somebody's got to pay that bill. So all the lenders and even the CMBS folks are trying to, extend and pretend, and hopefully this thing will work out.
Right. Now, Hawaii, Florida, various other states are all mortgage states. So obviously you've got a judicial foreclosure, and California being a trust deed state, you can do it as a non-judicial foreclosure in some of the other Western U.S. states. But yeah, I don't think there's any hurry, especially if you've got a continuing guarantee, you're going to end up in court on that. So yeah, let's not push that button as of yet. Now, with Aimbridge Receiver Services, you've taken it to the next level because you're actually doing almost a online event with various organizations.
Yeah, so we've started doing what we call lunch and learns with the asset managers at the special servicers, where we'll get on, and it's not a commercial for us. And we tell them in advance there's about a 3-minute commercial so they know who we are. What we do is we go through the markets across the country, and we usually identify 5 or 10. We give them the opportunity, if they'd like to know, for example, how Chicago's doing. We'll focus on our results in Chicago. Or other parts of the country, and then trends in those markets. In addition, what we'll do, and I think it's very helpful, is we're looking at segmentation. So if you take, for example, the extended stay market, which is the residence inns, homewood suites, etc., that market's fared pretty well in this downturn, and for lots of reasons. And it's probably, again, it's market to market, but probably 20-25% higher up in occupancy than your other segments of the market. So we go through it because a lot of these asset managers, what's interesting is, I won't name the special servicer, but we were talking to one, and he said, we've got 25 new people, and he said, I physically have not met anybody yet because nobody's in the office. So they have varying degrees. It might not be hospitality, right? And so there's a learning curve, and so we like to get on there. They have some great questions, and it's been great for us. When we started that, we probably in June had 35 contacts in the special servicer lender market. That I'd say good contacts. I could get them on the phone, and we now have a database of 500 asset managers that we're sending weekly updates to.
Wow! Congratulations. That's quite an achievement in a very short time frame. You know, with that and the educational component that you're offering to your clients now, I mean, not only are you getting them up to speed as quickly as possible, you're also seeing what their skill set is and being able to judge where you could really be of more value and help them understand. Because if you've got somebody that was dealing with shopping centers or strip malls and doesn't understand hospitality and all the moving parts, I mean, that's going to be invaluable to them.
Yeah.
Mark, let me ask you something. You know, with all this going on, are there any deals that you can talk about? I mean, have you got any contracts, and also, are you doing any repositioning of hotel assets right now?
Yeah, so yes to all of it. We actually, Aimbridge finished 2020 with a higher room count than we had in 19.
Wow.
We didn't translate the revenues yet because, as you know, we're closed. But for us, a room count is extremely important measurement of how we're growing. And so we're pretty proud of the fact that in 2020 we could grow in spite of the biggest economic downturn, certainly of my career, and probably most anybody that's working in the industry today. And so we've continued to grow. We are working on acquisitions. I have a small deal in Texas that's a Hampton Inn that's closing this month, and then you've got portfolios we're working on with some big institutional buyers. So there are definitely things going on. It's much tougher. I mean, what we are seeing initially here is a desire to buy notes. For example, Peachtree on the East Coast has bought between $400 and $500 million in notes, and these weren't a lend to own kind of thing. They're really trying to do workouts and make their money on restructuring the deals so that everybody can stay in there. They're not trying to do a foreclosure here. So there is activity. I mean, obviously it's a lot slower, but there's certainly activity going on.
Yeah, and that's good to hear about Peachtree. And you know, I had Robert Lowe on from East West Bank towards the tail end of last season, and basically they're doing the same thing. Right now they're looking for transparency from their borrowers.
Yeah.
You know, what are we doing? How are we trying to get back to, above 30% occupancy if we're even at 30% occupancy? I think that needs to be the key with everybody. It's got to be about transparency. You've got to be able to work with your lender, and Peachtree's great at that. Their lending arm, and Keegan Bish is out here in California, and he does a great job. And they're a great national lending group over there. Yep. So, my friend, we are out of time. Time for your shameless plug. How can they get a hold of you?
Well, Mark.LeBlanc at aimhospital.com. And you can go to our website and find me too, but we're always happy to talk. And we don't need to have a deal to talk about. If somebody wants to call up and get market information specifically, we're more than happy to share what we know. As I said earlier, there's not too many markets we're not in.
Perfect. Appreciate it, my friend.
Right.
And with that, I'm going to say aloha. And remember, be kind, share your knowledge. Now go be amazing.